Actually,
Yo,
yo, what's up, man?
what's going on, my guy? How you living?
Good. I saw your text, man. I was gonna leave this for Thursday, but I guess you were watching the whole conversation about Lisa.
Yeah, man, it just it came down to the point, I'm really tired of, just, covering everything up, really just hiding. So fuck it, let's just do it.
Let's do it. And so, and if you could turn me down the background a little bit, because I hear it echoing a bit.
Oh
And
yeah, I
Joe,
got you. 1 minute,
thanks.
1 minute.
Go ahead. And Joe, thank you so much for the super chats. I saw you sent me. I really appreciate it. A 50 super chat earlier. My dashboard is messed up on Stream Lab, so I have to use the web. I have to use YouTube. I have to go to the studio because the dashboard is messed up. So anyway, I feel like I'm flying a plane without some of the digital electronics working. But thank you so much. I appreciate that. And so this person, we're gonna get into it. So this guy is a friend of Charles, and he went to go visit. He'd stay there for a while when Lisa was there, and he had gotten sick. He started throwing up, and so he could tell the story way better. So we'll just give him a second.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, man.
What's going on with you, man? So yeah, basically I met Chuck. Well, how can I start it off? Well, let's start it off like this. Okay, it was September. I had actually got arrested September 2nd. I, got released from jail like a week later. I actually met Chuck through, personal friends of mine. I won't put them in this, but I met Chuck through two personal friends of mine. We actually met in Deep Ellum. I had just gotten out of jail, and they had called me because they know I do music as well. So, they called me. They were like, hey, there's somebody that we want you to meet. He does music. We all could do music together. You know what I'm saying? Like basically, just feeding me, everything that could be fed to a young person,
Right.
So I messed around and I went and I got introduced to Chuck. So, whenever we got introduced, basically the same routine that we had after that, Deep Ellum, strip club, back to the crib to, work on our music and work on our craft and shit. Excuse my language too if I'm cursing too
You're
much.
good. And Deep Ellum is like that place is like people go there to like drink and party and like, right? Like what's that like?
Right. Yeah, like in Dallas, Deep Ellum is a very, how can I say it's a very exciting place if you want to, party, have a good time, drink, do whatever, meet females, anything, So basically, we end up meeting in Deep Ellum, and off the bat, we just kicked it off. So it actually started getting to the point to where me and Chuck were getting closer than the guys that, introduced me to him. So it started off, he'd come pick me up, we'd go over to his house, and we started making music. How I came about meeting Lisa was one day, me and Chuck walked in the house, and she was actually in there cooking. And while she was cooking, whenever she first seen me, it's like she just drew herself to me. Like she kissed me on the cheek, let me know that her house was basically my home. If I was friends with Chuck, then that meant I was family and shit like that. So whenever I first met Lisa, I had to ask Chuck, I'm like, hey, bro, like, are you, you smashing that? And he lied to me. He was like, hell nah, bro. She just helping me out with my case. She giving me money here and there. We just cool friends. So I'm like, all right, well, cool, because she's kissing me on my cheek and shit, and she can be a sugar mama for me if she's doing all that for you. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that I was necessarily interested, because I wasn't. But you know what I'm saying? Like, me being young, seeing she has money and shit, I'm like, okay, well, if you're not talking to her, then let me try to give it a swing. You know what I'm saying? See if I can get in there myself. So the whole time it was always put to me like they were never together. They just lived together. She was helping him with his case. She was putting money behind his music and all of his talent and shit. Well, the talent that he think he had.
Mm.
So basically, it's just getting to the point. It's an everyday thing. Like I'm over there, we're smoking, chilling, drinking, making music, just vibing out, regular shit. So it got to the point where I had moved in with them, and this was around the beginning of October. Like I had moved in with them, so it started becoming an everyday thing. Excuse me. So basically, what we would do is we sleep all through the day, like literally, like all through the day. Like we only saw nighttime.
Wow.
So we wake up around like 8:30, probably 9ish. Eat the dinner that Lisa cooked. Started getting ready to go out. Same routine, about six, if not six, 5 to 6 days a week. Deep Ellum to on premise, the strip club, back home. And this was literally like our routine every single day. I
Wow.
can at least say Monday through Saturday, if not Monday through Sunday. Like we literally did this shit every single day. And like I said, and let me just put this out there before I go any further. Like I mentioned before, because me and you had this conversation before. Chuck around me, the Chuck that I know, he was never the type of person to ever, harm a female, because we literally brought females home every single night, a different female every single night. We brought them home, like, hey, we got a mansion, we got a studio, y'all can come back, kick it with us, we can do whatever. Like we literally had females there every night, and it never ceased to amaze me because like I said, him and Lisa never showed that they were in a relationship, that they had anything intimate going on. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we doing our thing as men, basically, you know what I'm saying? As young kids trying to just live our life and be free. So, the things that happened with me, it all started, I'd say, the day before Halloween of 2019. Basically what Lisa would do was, like you said, she was a paralegal. So she'd wake either me or Charles up to come drop off to work. She'd hand us large amounts of money and just like let us know, like, hey, go do this, go do whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure you're here to pick me up from work. And that's what we did. But 9 times out of 10, we slept most throughout the day. We slept throughout the day. So when it was time to go pick up Lisa, we picked Lisa up. And then, we started getting ready for the night. You know what I'm saying? Going out, same routine, same shit, picking up females, all of that. So the things that transpired with me happened, I'd say, a day before, or basically the day of Halloween. Like I said, Chuck, all before Chuck was a normal guy, you know what I'm saying? He was a cool guy, you know what I'm saying? He was never the type to ever put his hands on a female. He never got loud with a female. You know what I'm saying? He never did anything violent around me like the person that I am and the person that Chuck was. Like Chuck was never he was never built like that, like he loved working on his music, he loved drugging, going out. So it was the night before Halloween, we're all sitting in the studio and stuff, and Lisa comes in and she's like, hey, have you ever had your how can I say it? Have you ever worked with tarot cards?
Mm.
So I'm letting them know. I'm like hell no. Like I'm God fearing. I don't do the whole tarot card or the whole voodoo type shit or I don't practice Satanism or none of that shit. Like I told her, like, hey, I love God. I don't play about God. Like that's not something that I do.
Mm.
So she read my tarot cards the first night. Okay, and I was creeped out by it because she was literally like telling me my life, and I knew for a fucking fact I never explained anything that I ever had going on in
So
my
she was
life
accurate?
to Lisa. Like she was literally like telling me. She would ask me like, did things happen at this age? And I'm like, what the fuck? And she was like, whenever you were this age, did this happen and did that happen and did you go through this? Did you ever deal with this person or that person? And I'm like how the fuck do you know all of this? And she was just like, oh, it's what I do. It's what I do. Now, the whole time we were in the house, they had pictures of like Santa Muerte everywhere. And I never asked, like what that was about because I'm thinking that, hey, it's just pictures. I'm not really too focused in on it. So it comes down to Halloween Day. Lisa gives me a couple of dollars and she tells me, hey, can you go run to the liquor store? Can you run to the store to grab some candy? Because tonight we're going to do trick or treating. So I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I don't mind. So, whenever I come back, she's cooking tacos. And, she's sitting there, she's talking to me and stuff. And she mentioned something. She was like, Halloween Day wasn't important. It was either the day before or the day after. And I think it's called like Hallow's Eve or something of that sort. And she was basically telling me, like, hey, okay, Hallow's Eve is basically when like all the spirits arise or some shit like that. And I'm still letting her know, like, okay, Lisa, like I'm God fearing. I don't play with the other shit. Like I don't do that,
Right.
So we're still in the kitchen. We're talking and shit, and she happens to tell me about this building that they have downtown Dallas. And as she's explaining it to me, she lets me know that the building is abandoned, but a lot of people have been in that building as well as herself. And I'm like, okay, well, like, what's the point of going? And she was like, it's something interesting on the rooftop that that you should experience and that you should see, and I want to be the one to take you. So I'm like, abandoned building, going on the rooftop, like, fuck no, like I'm not fucking with that, right? And so, she just kept pressuring me to go until I just finally, I was like, Lisa, like, nah, like that shit dead, like I'm not doing it. Okay, so we sit down at the table, we start eating dinner. You know what I'm saying? We high, we're full of weed and alcohol and shit. So we're all sitting at the table, we're just eating. Like, we're eating away. And my dog Chuck, he looked at me, he was like, that shit good, right? And I'm like, hell yeah, on some regular shit. I was like, hell yeah, that shit good. And so he was like, you want to know why it's so good? So I looked at him and I'm like, why? What's up? And like his voice kind of changed and he was like, it's because she put her fucking period blood in it. And they both laughed. So whenever he said that, like I gave him this look like, excuse my language, I was like, nigga, like stop fucking playing with me. You feel me? But I looked at Lisa and she just had like this big ass grin on her face. And he was like, nah, let me stop playing. And so I looked at her, but she's just giving me like this evil ass laugh. So she comes out again with the tarot cards. And she was like, all right, you want to see what it says today about you? You want to see what this says today? So I'm like, all right, all right, Lisa, whatever. So she gets to reading them. I still remember the cards that she pulled. She pulled the death card. It was a card that had like 7 swords on it. It was a card. It looked like a damn, I can't figure out the name of it because I'm not that in tune with tarot cards. But it looked like a guy that kind of dressed like Peter Pan on it, but I can't really think of the name of that card. And it was another card that she had, and it represented like evilness or some shit. And so, like, I'm basically letting her know, like, okay, what does this card mean? What does this card mean? And she's going into detail, but she's not really explaining to me like what's happening or what's going to transpire. So Chuck sits down and I'm looking at him and he was like, all right, let me explain it to you. The first card he picked up was the death card. And I'm like, yeah, why would she pull that card? And he was like, well, it's the death card. Like, what does it look like? So I'm like, basically, Chuck, like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what does that mean? And he was like, well, just look at it. It's the death card. And so I'm just sitting there like I'm quiet because I'm confused. So I'm just looking around like I'm puzzled. I'm like, okay, what the fuck are you trying to tell me? And he bust out. He was like, oh, don't worry about it. That's going to happen eventually anyway. And Lisa just let out this fucking like this wicked ass laugh, like a witch's laugh, like that you probably hear like in a movie or something. Like she just laughed. And all of a sudden she just stopped, like everything got quiet. And so he tried to read the rest of the cards to me. I'm like, all right, fuck it. Like, let's just, let's go get dressed. So he's in the bathroom getting ready, and she's sitting in the living room. She lit the fireplace and shit. So I'm still sitting there talking to her, and she asked me about like the witchcraft shit. And around that time, that's when I looked up at the Santa Muerte picture, and I asked her. I said, "What is that?" You know, because I'm not that in tune with Santa Muerte. Like I never knew what it meant up until that night, and until I did like my own research on it after. So whenever I asked her about the picture, she basically told me, you know, oh, that's the protector of this and that, and sometimes people may see, you know, people may look at it like it's bad, but to me, it's really a good thing, and you know, just shit like that. So she gets in, you know, she gets more into detail talking about the shit, and I look down at my watch and I'm like, okay, yeah, I think it's about time, you know, me and Chuck head out. And so she asked me a question. She was like, have you ever seen the guy in the hallway? And so I'm like, what? You know, I started looking around. I'm like, what fucking guy? And so she was like, you never seen him? Like, you never heard him at night? Like, you never experienced him walking to the bathroom? So I'm like, fuck no. Like, what guy are you talking about other than Chuck? And so she was like, it was a spirit that lived in the house. And it was this, it was like a mean ass man or an old man or something that died in the house. And she was like, he lived in that same hallway that was connected to Chuck's room as well as the studio where I sleep, like where I slept at. So I'm like, hell nah, like I told you before, like I don't play with ghosts, I don't do the demon shit. Like I don't fuck around with it. And so she was like, yeah, well he's there and you know, you might end up seeing him one day. Wow. And as she was talking, you know, like we spent so much time sitting there talking, the fire in the fireplace was actually going out. Like the wood, it was still like cherry red, but it was turning to ashes basically. And so she asked me again, she said, no, I'm sorry. I actually talked about Chuck. I was like, yeah, I think it's about time, you know, me and him get ready to go. And she said something that amazed me. She was like, you know, Chuck's been gone for a very long time. And so I looked around again. I'm like, what fucking Chuck are you mentioning? Like, like you know, like at this point, I'm spooked. I'm like, what fucking Chuck are you talking about? So she like, you know, Charles. And I never knew Chuck's name until that night. I was like, who the fuck is Charles? And she was like, that's Chuck's name.
Oh, so you just knew him by Chuck all the time.
I just knew him by Chuck. Like I never really cared to, you know, ask him any personal question like, what's your name? Or, you know, I never cared to ask that because I'm not the type to get into anyone's business or, you know, try to figure out too much about a person, but I knew him as Chuck. And that's where I left it at. And she was like, yeah, you know, his name is Charles. So I'm like, what the fuck do you mean he hasn't been here for a long time? So she was like, you know, his soul left this earth like a while ago, like a very, very long time ago. So I asked her, I'm like, you talking about the same Chuck that's in there getting dressed, right? And she was like, yeah. And I looked at the fireplace and I said, oh man, the fire's going out. I think it's about time I get up and get ready. She said, oh yeah, it is going out. And bro, on my child, like she looked at the fire, she looked at the Santa Muerte picture, and she looked at me. She looked back at the fireplace, bro, and whenever I turned around and looked at the fireplace, the fucking flames had came like back up like full force.
No.
So I'm looking, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm like, Lisa, what the fuck is going on right now? And she was like, and so she was just like, you don't understand it. And I'm like, I don't understand any of this shit. And so she was like, you know, just be patient. Your time's going to come. And she was like, you know, I feel like you and Chuck really could take off with this music shit. And I'm like, yeah, me too, but I don't like what's going on right now. So she asked me, she was like, are you scared? And I'm not going to lie, like I played it off because, you know, I don't want to seem like this soft-ass, scared-ass kid. But in my soul, I was fucking terrified because I never went through anything like that. So Chuck comes out of the bathroom and I decided to go in the studio because that's where I was sleeping at. Like that's where I was living at, in the studio. I started getting dressed. So after I got dressed, I walked out and I made my way into the kitchen. Now where the kitchen is connected directly to the laundry room. So whenever I walk in the kitchen, Chuck and Lisa are standing in the laundry room and I'm not gonna lie, Chuck was getting on her ass, like, basically telling her like you need to chill the fuck out, like it's too early, like don't be doing this shit. And she was just like, I hear you. And he was like, no, you don't. Like, it's too early. And whenever I walked in, it's like they just stopped, like, conversation. Like they just, everything just got put to a halt. Like everything just went quiet. Oh, what's up, bro? I'm like, nothing. You ready? So we're on our way to Deep Ellum. Like I'm feeling sick to my stomach. I'm not feeling well. I let Chuck know. I'm like, hey, bro, like I don't really feel too good to go in the club. Oh, come on, bro. Man, don't act like that. We turning up. You know what I'm saying? It's our night. We finna have fun. Go chill with some hoes. Do this and that. So I'm like, all right, bro, whatever. I go in the, like, so we go in the club. We go in on premise. I'm in there, bro, but like I'm completely out of whack. Like I'm feeling nauseous. I'm dizzy. Like I'm fading in and out. So I actually throw up in the club, and I'm asking him, I'm like, say, bro, like just let let me go chill in the car until we ready to go to the strip club. Like just let me at least fall asleep or go take a little nap in the car till we ready to go to the strip club. I'm gonna be up and ready to party.
Right.
Oh man, bro, you not finna ride with me no more, bro. After tonight, man, I'm done, bro. You not on my vibe. You're not catching me. You don't want to be down with this shit. So I'm like, down with what? And he not explaining. He's just like, man, you need to turn up, man. Stop acting like a sore thumb. So I'm basically begging him at this point. I'm like, man, let me go sit in the fucking car, bro. Like I don't feel good. Like I'm in this bitch, like falling asleep at the fucking bar. So me and him go in the car. I fall asleep. The next thing I know, like I wake up. We're in the strip club, and they have a dancer. She dancing in my face and shit, but I'm blacking out. Like I'm going out of consciousness. I'm coming back into consciousness. The next thing I remember after that, like I don't remember walking out of the club. I don't remember the club closing or anything. The next thing I know, I'm laying down in the studio. All the lights are off, but I'm throwing up. Like that's how I wake up out of my sleep, because I feel myself vomiting. So whenever I wake up, like my mouth just has like this. It feels like this thick-ass liquid substance in it. So I'm throwing everything up, and I grab my phone, and I use the light off my phone to kind of see what I'm throwing up. But it doesn't look like vomit. It's like the shit is black. It's pure black. It kind of like a motor oil consistency, but it's like it's vomit, So as I'm getting up, I'm running to the bathroom. I'm throwing up, but I'm calling I'm calling for him. I'm like, hey. I'm like, Chuck, but at the time, Chuck was in the bedroom with a female. Like I said, the same routine every night we brought home females. He was in the bedroom with a female. The music was up, so I guess he couldn't hear me. So I'm calling his name, like I'm screaming his name. So the last time, like I screamed his name, I'm like, Chuck. And literally, like the music just cut off, like everything went quiet in the house. Like you could hear a rat pissing. And for some reason, like I could hear through the wall, like Lisa's on the phone with Nina, and she was like, "It's happening. It's going down. Like it's happening. It's working. He's in the bathroom. He's throwing up. It's working. It's working. It's working." So I immediately run back to the studio. I lock the door. I put my head up under the cover. So Lisa comes to the door and she's knocking. She's like, "Hey, let me in. Let me in. Let me in." I'm like, "Nah, I'm straight. I'm just gonna go to sleep. I don't feel well." So she was like, "Oh, come on. You'll feel better if you let me come in and help you out." You know what I'm saying? She was like, "This won't take long. This will be easy. You know what I'm saying? You're probably feeling pain. You won't feel pain anymore. Like, just let me come help you." So at that point, I'm just like, Lisa, get the fuck away from the door. I'm going to go to sleep. Mel, I woke up. I slept for 2 days.
2 days?
I woke up. I woke up 2 days later, bro. Like, literally, I woke up 2 days later. And so, whenever I wake up, like, Lisa is literally, like, standing over me. And she's just watching me. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what's going on? And she was like, oh, you were asleep. You weren't feeling too well. And I'm like, well, how long, was I asleep? She said about 2.5 days. And, I'm like, what? And she was like, yeah. She was like, I understand you weren't feeling well. You were throwing up, but don't worry, I took care of you. Chuck's in there asleep. You don't have to, go anywhere. You're straight. So I'm like, okay. So she tried to cook some eggs or some shit, but I didn't eat nothing at all. I fell back to sleep. I woke up again 2 days later. And whenever I woke up at that point, I was just like I made an excuse just to like get the fuck out of the house. I was just like, man, bro, I was like, Chuck, just take me home. Like, I need to go to work or something. Knowing that I didn't even have a fucking job at the time. I was just like, hey, bro, like, I need to go, I need to go back to the crib. Like, I'm not feeling right. I just need to go to work, make me some money so we can go out and party again. And whenever I said that, he was just like, all right, cool. He dropped me off, like he helped me like get all my clothes out the car and everything. But that was the last time I heard from him. So whenever that happened, like after that, like all communication between me and him was cut, was cut off. Like I tried calling after that, like he wouldn't answer. I mean, I was still trying to hit him up, trying to see if we could do music and shit. Like he wouldn't answer. So I ended up telling the story to our friends, and they didn't believe me because they were like, well, he never did that shit with us. And I'm like, well, you guys don't hang around that often. Like you guys barely here. Like y'all haven't lived here. Like y'all haven't experienced any of the shit that I just fucking went through. So they were pretty hard to believe in what I was telling them. Right? So at that point, like I stopped talking to everybody at that point. Like I was hitting nobody up. Nobody was hitting me up. So one day I just came to the conclusion. I was like, man, let me text Chuck and see what the fuck like he really have going on. So I text him, like I'm mad, I'm flashing out, trying to figure out why he ain't communicating with me. And he basically told me some shit like, man, you a cool guy and all, but you not down for what I'm down for. Like basically like you're not willing to accept what's going on. So I'm asking him like, okay, so what's going on? So he was just like, I'm not able to accept like their lifestyle. And I'm asking him, I'm like, okay, so what fucking lifestyle do you live? Because all we do is fucking party, go out, fuck bitches, and work in the studio. So he was like, no, it's deeper than that, it's darker than that, and shit like that. So at that point, I was just like, all right, bro, fuck it. So I let everything go, so I hadn't talked to them anymore after that. Like, I even tried hitting up Lisa, and she was just like, yeah, everything's fine, you can always come back. And something in the back of my mind was always telling me, like, hey, you need to go back to that house. Like, basically telling me, like, I need to go home, which was the Mesquite address. Like, something was always like, go home, go back to that house, go back to the house, go be with those people. So after that, like, I just cut everything off. Like, I stopped going over there.
So you had, like, the urge you're saying? Like, you had, like, the urge inside of you to go back.
Yeah, like it is, and something still to this day wants me to go back to that house, but the person I am, like I'm strong-minded. So even though if something's telling me to go back to the house, I'm like, fuck no, because I'm not sure if it could be. I'm not sure what it could be that's calling me back. Some people may seem like it's the evilness that's calling me back, but I just feel like if I do go back, like something's gonna try to pull me in, and I'm gonna be stuck. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that I don't want to do, because I honestly feel like, how can I say this? How can I say this without? Oh man. Basically, what I'm trying to say is, I honestly feel like something was put on me. Because I have some days, where I'm good and I'm just, I'm relaxed. I have no worries in the world. And then some days my mind will just go blank. And like this anger, or like this fucking rage of violence or something come over me. But I talk to people about my situation, and I let people know what went on with me in that house. And I just basically feel like I really don't know how to put it, Mel. I'm sorry, I really don't know how to put it, because it's so fucked up. Like, it's like I'm at a loss for words. But I just feel like something was put on me that night, and I can't explain what it is, but I know that it's there. And some days I do have a hard time like trying to overcome it, but I know that I'm better than that. So I do my best to just like stay out the way. And as you know, I tried multiple times to, to tell my story. And I was actually, I'm not going to say I was scared. I was nervous to tell my story, because they may have some people in the world who's like, hey, no, nobody believes in paranormal type shit or Satanism or anything like that. But this is some shit that really happened. And as far as Marisela goes, I really feel bad for her family because at one point I feel like that could have been me if I stayed any longer. Like knowing everything that happened to me, knowing everything that happened to Marisela, like I'm just glad that I was able to make it out before it was too late.
Right.
I honestly feel like if I would have stayed any longer, that could have been me. Like Marisela could have still been living her life, and that could have been me in that situation. Like I probably would have never had a chance to have a child. I probably would have never had the chance to even, be around family again. And so I'm glad that I made it out of that situation, bro. But it's a lot of shit. And I'm not gonna necessarily say on Chuck's part, because like I said, whenever I was around Chuck, Chuck was never that person. All Chuck liked to do whenever I was around him, party, fuck bitches, go out, spend money. Like he was never violent around me or towards me. Shit just seemed to like get weird like on that night when everything came out, like when she cooked the food, when she was reading tarot cards, she was explaining the Santa Muerte to me. Like everything that night just took a whole different turn. And as far as the house goes, like there's Santa Muerte every fucking where, like phone cases, Santa Muerte, jewelry, Santa Muerte, pictures, Santa Muerte, shrines, all of that shit. And I never understood what it meant until that night. Like whenever I asked her that, she basically went into detail about it and was basically letting me know that this is something that you're going to be adjoined to if you continue to deal with us or if you decide to, be considered as our family. And it always amazed me because I was always trying to figure out what in the fuck would make what would lead up to Lisa doing this shit to this girl. Because like I said, Chuck wasn't that person. At least not around me. Like I said, they never had any type of intimacy shown whenever I was around. It was always just like, okay, Lisa's our sugar mama. Well, Lisa's Chuck's sugar mama, but I'm there too. So she's really providing both of us with like cash, food, a place to lay our heads and shit.
Right.
And so whenever a story came out, I remember it like it was yesterday. The story came out, bro. I was getting high. I was smoking a bunch of fucking weed. And his picture popped up. And it was like, he was a person of interest. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, a person of interest for what? And it showed that, Marisela went missing and shit. Whenever they ended up getting apprehended by the police. And Charles Beltran gave a statement to the police. His story is believable because, I spent time around him. I was able to learn his every move within like a matter of a fucking month, probably 2 months. So I knew, okay, yeah, we always go to Deep Ellum. We always go out. We always pick up females. I know for a fact, okay, yeah, they possibly got drunk, went home, had sex, went to sleep. Shit, that's what we do with every female that we brought over,
Yeah.
Then it amazed me because it was like, okay, he woke up to, accordingly, he woke up to Lisa, stabbing Marisela, and he ran. That sounds about right because, like I said, he wasn't a violent person around me at least, So at this point, I really feel as if Lisa and Nina are trying to think him, but it's just like Jen said, just like everyone else is saying. If he is innocent, he should have did the deed of at least, instead of just running, he should have at least made a statement, just to clear his name.
Right.
Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, whenever you got up and seen what was going on, leave the house, but at least call the authorities like, hey, they got suspicious activity going on at so-and-so address, or, there's something going on that I think is not right. Because it honestly sounds like they're trying to pin everything on him,
right.
But to me, it seems like his pride's too big to even give a damn. So he's just like, fuck it, let me ride it out because I know that I'm innocent. But the way that this shit is looking with the court system and the judge and the evidence that was just found over the past weekend, it seems like, okay, Lisa and Nina not giving a fuck about Charles. Lisa and Nina are giving a fuck about Lisa and Nina.
Right.
They're trying to get free. Fuck what Charles has going on. Even though he has kids, he has a whole family himself. But basically, they're saying, okay, fuck you, Charles. We're going to get out ourselves. Whatever you have going on in jail or prison, whatever they give, whatever sentence they give you, that's on you. And it's crazy because ever since this shit happened, like I was there, like I was tuned in since day one. And I actually spoke to Charles. And whenever I spoke to him, our conversation wasn't very decent because I was, I had made a promise to send Charles some money, but I wasn't able to do it due to the fact that I had just had a child. I got my own priorities. Like, I'm a grown man myself. I have my own bills. I have my own child priorities. I have shit that I have to take care of. I have my own legal troubles. So even though I promised that I would send him money, I wasn't able to do it due to the circumstances that came. Right. And what's surprising is I actually talked to him recently. And we got into it about the same shit, basically, about money. Right now, he's basically upset because he feels as if, well, let me start it off like this. It's somebody that's watching. It's somebody that's real close to him that's watching right now, probably watching right now. And they're going back and giving him everything that they're seeing. So as far as like your live videos go, as far as like the Facebook groups and shit, somebody's watching and they're giving him information. So basically, whenever I spoke to him, I'm basically, just telling him, like, letting him know, like, hey, okay, like, you need to find a way to contact me or somebody that because these two bitches are trying to sink you, bro. Like, they don't give a fuck about what you have going on. They don't give a fuck that you just got up and ran out of the house. Like, they're trying to sink you. They have enough money to where they can be fucking free and you can be in jail for the rest of your life away from your kids. And basically, he's pissed off because whoever is watching this is running back and telling him, you know what I'm saying, like everything that went on with me as far as my story goes, as well as all of the reports that other people are putting in about him, Lisa, or Nina. And, he basically feels as if I'm only doing this for publicity or because, it's being shown on live TV or whatever the case is. And just like I told him, I'm like, bro, this shit is going on damn near 3 years. I've been here since fucking day one trying to help you. Like, I've been trying to explain your innocence at least the best way that I could. Like I said, you were never that type of person whenever I was hanging with you or even before or after I was hanging with you. You were never that type of person to even harm a female. You wouldn't even curse out a female. Like you wouldn't even disrespect a female in any type of way. So I know for a fact, bro, that you didn't have anything to do with it, but it's just the fucking fact that you were in the wrong place at the wrong time around the wrong bitches. You were just around the wrong people, bro. Not saying that you did anything because, like I said, I know your routine. I know you go out. I know you like to, smoke your weed, have your drinks, bring females back home because that's what the fuck we did. But you think that I'm doing all of this for publicity. Bro, I don't give a fuck about a camera. And Mel, you know this. Like, ever since this shit started, I talked to you 3 years ago, bro.
Yeah, we
know
did.
This.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to remain anonymous because, I never wanted anyone to look at me like, oh, he's going against his friend, or, he's being a fucking, he's being a roach or a leech or a rat or anything like that. That's never been my case. The only thing that I was trying to say basically was, okay, Charles, 9 times out of 10, Charles really is innocent. He was just caught at the wrong fucking time. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. He did the wrong things, like he had the wrong motives whenever the shit happened. You know.
Yeah,
So
I
basically,
go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, basically all I'm saying is, you know what I'm saying. Whenever I was around Chuck, he was a stand up guy. You know, just like me. I'm a very stand up guy. I don't mind telling you what's on my mind. I don't mind you knowing, you know what I'm saying, anything about me. But it's just like the way he's putting it, he feels as if, you know, I waited too long to say something, and he basically feel like he basically feels as if I'm lying. You know, but I have nothing to lie about. Like, who the fuck would lie about damn near losing their life? Who
So
the fuck would lie about, you know what I'm saying, dealing with a fucking woman who you've got multiple reports from, multiple connections. Everyone has told you, like, okay, she's into witchcraft. She's into doing, like, all of this evil shit. She's a weird-ass woman. I never met Nina personally. I talked to Nina one time on the phone, and that's whenever Lisa introduced me to Nina over the phone. But, you know, you're dealing with these fucking women just basically because they have money and you don't know their true intentions. Like, who knows? Like, okay, let's say if I would have never came to picture and this shit would have never happened to Marisela, how you don't know years down the line or even the day after Lisa could have did this shit to you?
right.
You know, like maybe you could have been a victim of this shit if it wasn't you or Marisela. You know, and right now, like the place that I'm at, I can honestly tell you, fuck Lisa and Nina. I can tell you that from the bottom of my heart. Fuck Lisa, Dykes, or whatever the fuck her name is. Fuck me, Nina Marano, whatever the fuck her real name is. And right now, I still have love for Chuck to this day. You know what I'm saying? I still, I'm not gonna necessarily say look at him as a brother, but I look at him as an acquaintance. But the way that I feel about this whole situation right now, fuck them all. Because at this point, Chuck, I've tried my best to help you any way that I could. Like getting in touch, as far as getting in touch with your family, as far as getting in touch with people that's close to you. Like, I tried my best to even contact you to let you know, like, hey, okay, this is what's going on, or you need to do this or do that in order to prove your innocence, in order for you to come home and at least be with your family and your kids, you know? And you're still looking at me like, well, basically it's a slap in the face to me, because he's basically looking at me like, fuck me, because I'm on here telling my story. It's like it doesn't make sense to me. And, you
Right.
know, so basically right now, like I told him, whenever I spoke to him, I let him know. And Mel, just for the record, to anybody listening, I'm not racist. I've never been the type to, you know, be racist or any of that. But I basically let him know, like, at the end of the day, you gotta understand something. White will not eat white. White won't eat white. Brown won't eat brown. And at the end of the day, it's like you have to look at it as if, okay, Chuck, you're black / Mexican. You're mixed with whatever you're mixed with. You have African American standards in you, like you know, like you have a piece of African American culture in you. You actually think that these two women are gonna just be like, okay, fuck it, yeah, we did this and we did that. Chuck didn't do anything. How everything's looking, bro, like from the court documents and everything else, they're trying to gain their freedom while you lose your life. And you're mad at me for trying to give you help. So at this point, all I can do for you, bro, is wish you the best. And to the person, whoever it is that's watching or reading or doing whatever the fuck they're doing, that's relaying messages back to Chuck, I have a message for you too. The same thing that I say to iCkEdMeL or to anybody that I talk to about my story, I can repeat to you. And just to let you know, I am still in Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, Mesquite, Texas. I'm still in the state of Texas. So anything that you can repeat to Chuck, you can say to me. Anything that I say, I can repeat to you. I don't give a fuck about what you repeat to Chuck, Nina, Lisa, or anybody else, because at the end of the day, I know the truth. I know my story, and I know what happened with me. They know what happened with me. And They're supposed to be. I think the trial is supposed to start on the 30th.
Well, yeah, they're gonna
I'm
do
gonna
a
be,
hearing. You're gonna be there. They're gonna have a discovery
yeah,
hearing.
yeah.
But then I heard it's not
I'm
starting till
gonna,
like March.
yeah. Well, whenever it goes on, I'll be there. Like, because I want Lisa to see my face. Like, I want you to look me in my eyes and just witness, like just know that I know you. I want Nina to be able to, even though I never met her in person, I want Nina to be able to look me in my face and just know that I'm somebody that this shit could have happened to. I'm somebody that underwent a deal of trauma because of this shit. You know, like I never lived in fear about what happened to me. I lived with nervousness because, you know, like I said, I never wanted to come out and, you know, try to make anyone seem like I was lying or make a fool of myself. But I just had to come to the point to where, okay, I'm grown. This has happened to me, and I just want to be a voice for anybody else in the world. You know, I just want to be a voice because if it happened to Marisela, it can happen to anyone. If it didn't happen to Marisela, it could have happened to me first. It could happen to anybody else in the world. So whenever you think that, you know, you're meeting someone that has genuine intentions, watch yourself. You gotta watch your back.
Let me ask
Even
you
if you go out.
a couple of questions from the chat. Are you down
Okay.
to do that? Just people wondering.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me get through some of this. So, Carly here says, I'm curious on if he thinks Chuck would have brought this girl to the house if they knew Lisa and Nina would harm her. So, like,
honestly,
yeah, go ahead.
Honestly, I can tell you, in my opinion, no, because like I said, whenever I was there, Tim and Lisa never showed any intimacy. They never showed that they were together. Like they never showed any signs of them having a relationship with each other. The only thing that I knew, which was a lie, was that, okay, she was helping him with his case and she was putting money behind his music career and things of that sort.
And what
and like
case?
I said,
People were asking what case.
As far as what you mean by what case?
You said she was helping him with his case.
Oh, so yeah, basically, okay. Whenever I first got introduced to Lisa, remember I told you I had asked Chuck if he was fucking her, and he was like, "Nah, bro. You know, he said that he was helping her like with cases as far as like his legal problems. Like I never knew Lisa was a paralegal or anything until after all of this came out about Marisela. I knew that she was a lawyer, but I didn't know what type of lawyer she was. But he basically told me that she was helping him with like his legal cases and shit. Okay. She was putting money behind his music. You know, he moved in with her, and that's all it was, just a friendship. You know.
Just Jeff is asking. She was at home. Was she acting jealous or bitchy? Like, was she ever jealous when you guys brought the chicks to the house or anything like that? Or?
Honestly, no. Like every night we brought home a female. Like whenever, by the time we got home, Lisa was already like in her room. I don't know what she was doing, but she was always in the room. I only seen one occurrence where it seemed like she was mad about Chuck being with a female. It was one morning she had made breakfast and she brought me my plate and she was trying to give Chuck his, but you know, he still had the music on. It was like morning time. He still had the music on. He was in the room with a female. So, you know, I let her know, like, hey, like I think they're in their sleep, you know, he got company. And she was like, yeah, he's probably one of his little fucking whores or something. And that's like the only occurrence that I ever seen like her really like have like an attitude or anything about him having a female. But other than that, like out of any of the other times that we brought females home, no, like she never showed a sign of jealousy, rage. She wasn't mad or anything. Like it was like a normal ass day. Okay, take me to work. You guys go do whatever. Just pick me up from work, or she'll drive herself to work some days. But no, like she never showed a sign of jealousy or anything except for that one time.
So Chuck, what was sleeping with Lisa though, but just not all the time, or?
Like I said, I never knew that they had a serious relationship until the stuff about Marisela came out. Whenever I was there, like they never did anything intimate, like no sex, no sleeping together, or none of that. Lisa had her own room. Chuck had his own room, and I stayed in the studio.
Okay. Kay said, so Marisela was murdered not because of jealousy, but some kind of black magic ritual. No idea. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Um, like I said, I'm not really sure because I wasn't dealing at them around the time that he met Marisela.
Okay.
I did have a conversation with someone. Like I said, I'm not gonna put anyone else's name out there, but it was supposedly the day before that happened to Marisela. It was like the day before, or like a couple of days before. Lisa had a conversation with with the person that I'm talking about, and she was basically talking about how she felt like Chuck's music career was really going to take off, and he was really going to be a big star. But in order for that to happen, you had to sacrifice someone.
Mm.
And whenever that person heard that story, he said he got the fuck like he left the house, and that was the last time he heard from them until it happened again, and him and Chuck linked back up.
Wow.
So,
Was there?
so I'm not
Go ahead.
I'm really not understanding like the motive on the reason why she did it or why she may have did it. But I know that conversation took place like a day or two before Marisela, the tragic incident happened with Marisela.
Did they have cameras in the house? Any cameras or no?
No, no cameras at all. There wasn't any cameras.
Okay. A couple of people asked, why didn't you leave sooner, or why didn't you go to the hospital?
Um, the reason why I didn't leave sooner was because like I said before, the signs weren't really there before. Like before that night, but before everything happened to me, like everything was cool. Like everything was literally cool. Like we ate together, we spoke together, we chilled, we partied, we drank. Like it was never really a sign of any bad things happening until that Halloween night. Like that Halloween day, that Halloween night, like everything was cool.
Hmm.
And that night of Halloween, like whenever all of that shit happened, I freaked out, but I still stayed around because I was trying to be. I wasn't really trying to like feed into it. Like I wasn't really trying to let it get to me
Right.
until everything happened. Like I threw up whatever that shit was, like that whatever that black vial stuff was. Like I threw that up. Like I heard Lisa talking on the phone with Nina saying that it was working, it was about to happen, and she came to the door and shit. And after that, like I just woke up and I just made an excuse. I was like, hey bro, like I need to go to work. Like I need to go make me some more money so we can still go out and do what we normally do. And once he dropped me off, like he cut off all communication with me.
Okay. Bill's daughter was asking, she said, which Halloween Eve are you referring to Maricela's murder in October 5th, 2020? I'm sure you're talking about, because I heard you say 2019, right? You're talking about 2019.
Yeah. So that happened to Marisela with October. She disappeared October 4th, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
This was, I'd say, a year prior. So yeah, October of 2019.
Yeah, I heard you say 2019 before. Okay. How long did you live with them? Was it like a month, or how long were you there? And you never saw Nina, so she wasn't there at the time.
No, like I said, I never met Nina in person, like face to face. I talked to Nina once on the phone, and how that conversation went. Lisa basically let her know that I was there. I was a friend of Chuck's, and we got on the phone. I introduced myself. She introduced herself, and it was like me. Lisa was basically like, "I can't wait for you guys to meet Gunner. I think you're gonna like her," and shit like that. Like basically, like she was telling me to hook up with Nina, like whenever she came to visit.
Mm.
And we spoke about visiting and stuff, but we never met face to face. No.
All right. Let me see. Any other questions here? I appreciate you coming on, dude. Oh, Flossie was asking too. What about his random Instagram stories after he's been in jail? I don't know if you saw the Instagram stuff.
Basically yeah, he was still posting like while he was locked up and stuff. some posts were declaring his innocence. Some posts were saying like, how people changed on him since he's been locked up. How people really feel about him and shit like that. Like I said, I kind of, I was in contact with him for a little while whenever he was locked up, but we had a falling out because, like I said, I had made a promise to send him some money. But around that time, I had stuff going on in my life. I had just had a daughter. Like I said, I got my own legal troubles that I'm going through right now that I won't speak on. But I have my own situation going on. Like, so I had my own shit to take care of, and I can honestly admit, like, as a man, I was wrong for making a promise that I couldn't keep. But everything, life is like a fucking merry-go-round. You don't really know what's gonna happen this day. You might wake up tomorrow and be rich, and the next day you might wake up and be flat broke, or you might wake up broke and be a fucking millionaire the next day. So everything that was going on in my life, I wasn't able to do what I promised. And I would like to apologize to him for that, but he has to understand, like, I'm my own person. I'm my own man. Like, I have situations of my own that I'm dealing with. And like I said, I recently spoke to him. We fell out again because he feels as if all of this shit is coming out once, his trial is about to start, and people are just coming out with, stories about him and Nina and Lisa, and he just feels like, oh, basically I'm trying to gain clout from this when I'm not. I could give a fuck about it because I would have never came out and said anything, bro, just for the simple fact, like, I'm very, how can I say it? I'm very not secretive when it comes to my life, but I'm very, like, standoffish. Like, I'm really not into people knowing my business unless I'm telling my business. And I hardly tell my business to anyone, which is why I stayed anonymous for so long. Because, like I said, I didn't want anyone looking at me like, oh, I was a bad friend, or I was just this fucking guy that was just using them for what they had or what they could do for me, because that wasn't the case.
Damn. And so, somebody asked earlier too, and again, I appreciate you sharing your story. And, like, for people that don't know, because like I had talked to these people like a couple of years ago. Like, when I first started covering this story, people that saw me covering it, and like one by one, people just kind of started reaching out and trusting me with certain things. And so this is the same story that he told me like a while back. I didn't remember it all, but yeah, this is what he told me before. And somebody was asking, like, do you have to testify? Pretty sure they haven't asked you, right?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Somebody was asking if you have to testify, but as far as I know, you haven't been asked to, right?
No, I haven't been asked to testify. Just like the person that I am, I'm not too fond of law enforcement, because I'm a guy that I come from the streets. I come from doing a lot of how can I say it? Doing a lot of illegal activities myself. So I'm not really fond of law enforcement.
Right.
I've been asked about doing it, and I've been very standoffish with it, because, like I said, I'm not the type to talk to law enforcement or anything. The only reason why I'm telling my story to the public is, like I said, if it wasn't Marisela, it could have been me, just the same way it could be anybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And as far as like a music career goes or anything, I don't care about it, because I make my music for myself. Even though whenever you do music, it's supposed to be like for fans and get fame and shit like that. I don't do it for that. I do it to tell my life story. I make music to tell my life story, because I feel as if I'm not really too keen on talking about shit, but that's the way that I cope with things, by making my music. So as far as like a music career goes, I don't care anything about it, bro, because honestly, I don't care about fame. Like, all I want to do is be able to support my family, make money for my family, and live a happy life with my family. So as far as the music career goes, I could give two fucks about it. You know, I just wanted to I just want to get my story out there to help anybody else that might be going through this, or to, you know, bring peace to anybody that may be scared to come out and tell their stories, you know, from their past traumas or anything that they have going on in their life. You don't have to be afraid. You know, you don't have to live in fear. You don't have to look over your shoulder wondering if someone's coming after you. You know, if you feel as if you have a story that needs to be shared with the world, go ahead and share it.
Right. No, man. Well, I appreciate you, man, so much, and congratulations again on you know, I know you had a new child. How old? I mean, don't even say how old, but I know you reached out to me. I don't remember when. I know you told me you got a new kid now, first kid. So congrats. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Well, stay in touch, man. Who knows what's gonna happen now with this thing actually moving forward? I mean, it's been years, like literally years, just like waiting for some sort of like update, and these women going on the run and fleeing the country, and they ain't getting pulled back in. Um, so, and yeah, man, yeah, appreciate you, man. We'll talk.
It's my pleasure, man. And you have all my contact information.
Yeah, I
so
do.
anytime you feel like you want to talk, to anybody that, you know, wants to speak to me, I'm happy to talk to anyone, possibly except law enforcement. I don't think I'll ever talk to law enforcement or
Right.
anyone that deals with law enforcement. But, you know, if you want to talk to me, how can I do this?
Yeah, you might want to
My
think
name is
about.
John.
You sure you want to do that?
Bro, at this point, bro, it's like, fuck
Or,
it, you know?
or why don't you put an email or something, man, instead for people, or some sort of social media profile. I don't know if you want to give your full name. Maybe you can give your first name if you want, but maybe like I don't know, some sort of social media. I wouldn't tell people your full name. Because people online are nuts, dude. I want them
All right, well,
messing
I'll
with
do
you.
it like this.
Yeah.
I'll do it like this. My name is Gunner.
Okay. That's your
My name
alias.
is Gunner.
Right.
Yeah, that's my alias. My name is Gunner. To the people that know me from Facebook, you know, you guys know my name. I'm actually in the group about Marisela. You know, I've talked to what's her name, Debbie.
Debbie. Yeah.
You know, I like to give a shout out to Debbie because, you know, she actually encouraged me to, you know, come out and tell my story. She actually, you know, she actually encouraged me to be vocal about my situation because, like I said, this can happen to anyone, and the circumstances can be bigger if you're not strong, if you're not strong minded, if you're not strong enough to, you know, get out of a situation that you're in because you're in fear or you may be nervous about what's going to happen. And honestly, like, I'm at the point in my life, like I'm satisfied with my life, and I can honestly say I do regret what happened to me as well as Marisela, but I don't regret me coming out and telling my story.
And you're on
And I hope that
Discord
this
too,
is,
right? You're on Discord. I know
yeah,
you're on.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You've been on my Discord for a
Actually,
while.
my name on Discord is Who is John Wick.
Right.
That's my name on Discord. Who is John Wick? And I'm actually on your Discord, so,
Yeah.
you know, if anybody's on there, you know, feel free to reach out to me. I thank you for this experience. And I also like to thank one more person. Her name is Michelle. You spoke to her on yesterday or the
She's
day before.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a blessing in disguise, man. She really is. And, you know, I've been talking to her. You know, I let her know my story before I even came out to anyone. Before I spoke to you today and brought my story to the world. You know, and she's actually a blessing in disguise because she also encouraged me too to just say fuck it and be brave, be a man about the situation, and don't worry about anybody that may have anything negative to say, or don't worry about any of the ill will that I might receive for this shit. Because at the end of the day, I'm not snitching. I'm not talking to law enforcement. I'm just telling my story to the world to possibly save a million lives, if not one.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much, dude. We'll be in touch. You have my number, and yeah, we'll follow next week to see what happens with the discovery. See what goes on with that. All right.
Yes, yes, sir. Most definitely. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Amazing, man. Thank you.
All right.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.